Hey folks, welcome to No Tech Talk with Barb, tips, advice, and consulting for your business's IT. I'm your host, Barb Paluszkiewicz, and for those of you taking notes, Paluszkiewicz is spelled the exact way it sounds, Paluszkiewicz. What I want to share with you today is how to keep your business and IT systems safe and secure by discovering and acknowledging what all your vulnerabilities are. As an IT consultant, there are tools available that we use to communicate information about what's going on with your computer networks so you can be pragmatic about how you spend your money on technology for your business. You see, if you lived in a bad neighborhood, you'd take the steps to keep yourself safe. Lock the doors, install extra locks, don't carry excessive cash, and be mindful of your surroundings as you're walking around. When you live in a good neighborhood, you tend to be more relaxed because you feel safe. Nothing really is going to happen. We're in a great area. What people don't understand is in the online world, in the world of www. In the cyber world, everyone lives in a bad area. Phil, am I making you laugh over there?
How are you, Barb? I'm just thinking in between hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your computer too, don't you, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So basically it's all about, I guess, stranger danger, especially when you're online, especially when your business is online.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Stranger danger. You know what? You tell your kids that when you're walking around, don't accept candy from strangers. Don't accept ads from people you don't know.
That's true.
And you see, you don't know what you don't know. And most people have no idea what's going on in their network. So they reach out to companies like mine, CDNTechnologies.com, to make sense of things. And we use tools to help us communicate in non-technical terms how to keep their information safe within their computer networks. So at any time during this show, you can reach out to me at CDNTechnologies.com. I am Barb Paluszkiewicz, the CEO of CDNTechnologies.com and the author of IT Scams, How to Avoid Being Ripped Off. What CDNTechnologies.com is it's a managed service company here in Mississauga. So what that is an outsourced IT company, and we provide IT service, IT support, and IT security to local businesses and companies here in Mississauga and throughout North America. CDN Technologies has been doing IT since 1989, and we've seen changes. Some good, some bad, some ugly. Leaving your doors unlocked in a sketchy neighborhood, not taking the minimum security precautions necessary to keep the people in your house safe is very bad.
Very true, especially in Mississauga, where it's nice and safe.
Hey, what about Oakville?
Well, Oakville, it depends on where you are. That's true.
What about Jane and Finch?
Well, it's not as bad. I think they need help, though. They need business IT help, of course.
Yes, well, some business IT help that we have is Audit. And it's a software tool that's used by managed service providers, companies like mine, CDN Technologies, to help simplify tech talk into no tech talk. And that's NO tech talk to non-technical people. And it's to help people in the executive seats to quickly and simply understand IT problems so they can provide the resources to solve them. No one wants to be the person who left the door unlocked in a bad neighborhood. And decision makers need to understand the impact of their choices when making decisions to secure personal information, employee information, and computer information that's happening within their networks.
Especially when your business is online, you know how people brag about being on the cloud and so on and so forth. These are things that can be tampered with, right?
Absolutely, because they don't get tampered at the cloud level. They get tampered at the user level.
Like they would go into those computers and you wouldn't even know.
That's exactly it. So I have a really cool guest today. Today we have Mike Brooks from Audit, and he is the director of North America for sales for Audit. He travels North America educating MSPs, companies like mine, CDNTechnologies.com, about the different ways we need to help end users with clarification and understanding about how to keep their computer networks safe and how to secure their networks and let them know about what's going on within their business networks. So, Mike, are you ready?
I'm ready. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming. You are on the air. Tell North America what exactly it is Audit IT does and who Mike Brooks is.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me again. So, yeah, audit, as you said, audit's a tool for IT providers and managed service providers. And the tool is really designed to help the IT provider better communicate what they're doing or can do for their clients. Now, for a client, for a small business owner, it makes understanding their IT as simple to comprehend as a traffic light. Right? We know what a traffic light means usually by the time we're 5. So our goal at Audit is to make IT easy for the small business to understand. That's one of the big frustrations we hear, because I do talk to a lot of small businesses, that they don't really know what their IT person even does for them. And IT people are super technical, and if they're, the more technical they are, they're probably not too good at selling, usually we find. And, by selling, I also don't mean trying to trick somebody into buying something that they shouldn't be buying. A good salesperson, to me, is a person who knows how to ask great questions and to unearth all of their prospects' needs, all of the small business owners' needs, and they can then build a solution that fits the needs.
Yeah.
So, every small business owner should want their IT provider to be as good at that part of it as the technical part of it.
Yeah, it's important for the frontline person of a managed service provider. I know it's important for me when I go in and I talk to people to understand and to listen what's going on within their computer networks. And we always say, before we begin on telling and sharing what exactly is going on, we always do an assessment or an audit or some type of vulnerability discovery. So, why do you think that it's a good idea for small businesses and even IT directors of big companies to partake in these assessments and audits and vulnerability discoveries?
Yeah, well, and I loved your analogy that you guys talked about in the beginning, don't leave your door unlocked if you live in a bad neighborhood, and talking about pretty much anybody is living in a bad neighborhood if you're connected to the internet. I love that analogy, but I'll tell you what, I live in a pretty good neighborhood, and we have a big community here, and just about every day I hear somebody going on our Facebook group, talking about how somebody tried to get in their house, or somebody stole something out of their yard, or somebody came into their house. You got to keep your doors locked even if you live in a good neighborhood. So, a small business needs to understand what's happening in their business, and having a audit done, having somebody come in and do a technical assessment is one of the most important things they can do. If they don't, they're asking for trouble. I mean, a small business's IT is their heartbeat, right? An audit is really another layer of protection. So think of two-factor authentication, right? And if your audience probably knows what this is, but I'm going to explain it. It's simply that second layer of protection. So if I log into Facebook and I can't get right in without that second step, so Facebook's going to text me or email me a code to use. So an audit is kind of like a two-factor authentication for your business. A business has to look at the state of their IT. We feel they should look at it regularly, and as much as quarterly, to look for any gaps or deficiencies, because hackers are changing. These people who are trying to get in are changing every single day. So tech changes, business needs change, and if they don't review this in a way that can clearly understand, they're really putting themselves at risk. So whether you have an MSP, a managed service provider, or whether you don't, I think at the very least have somebody come in and take a look at your technology to make sure that you're up to par.
Gotcha. I think that knowing what your risks are is what it's all about. And then, you know what the best part I love about your tool? I'm going to quote, this is going to be named that tune. Red light, yellow light, green light, go. Who is that?
Is that an R&B song?
No.
No, red light, yellow light.
Green light, go.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Knocking on my floor. Dun, 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 sweet. Pour some sugar on me.
Oh, Def Leppard. That's about a decade away from me, though. That's a little older than I thought.
Because essentially that's what I love about this tool. It takes all the information that the techs gather, and then essentially it very clearly, like you mentioned, that stoplight, red light, yellow light, green light. Red is like high risk. Yellow is like, meh. And green light is like, this is good.
So it's sort of like when you go to one of those specialized auto mechanics and they give you a report, and unless you put colors on the sheet, it's kind of hard to decipher what you need to fix, right?
That's exactly it. So when we do these security audits, these vulnerability discoveries, these assessments, and you have all that technical information, now you have to present, on my end, I have to bring it to the person who's essentially going to say yay or nay, but I need them to understand that this is a pragmatic solution.
Right.
So these are the things that are like high-level things that we need to do right away. Like, you don't have two-factor authentication enabled. You've got your same password since 1980.
And it's hard to explain what two-factor authentication is unless you do it in layman's terms, right? Unless you say you need to have 2 steps to provide security in, right?
That's
Something
exactly
like that.
That's exactly it. So I'll restate it again. What this tool does, it enables us to break it down and very quickly summarize for the person in the leadership role to make an educated and informed decision.
So you're basically translating stuff that would have looked like the Rosetta Stone to your client, and you're presenting it to them so they can understand it.
And that's exactly it with the whole management plan, because you know what? Sometimes it hurts to write the checks and you don't know exactly what it is. You think you know what you want the results to be, but exactly are you paying for it?
Sure.
Is all this making sense to you, Mike?
You're nailing it. It's awesome. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, the first step is really for a small business. They need to be able to immediately look at something at a glance and understand what it means, right? You know, think about any purchase you're making or anything you're doing. If you don't understand something, what are you going to focus on?
You're going to focus on price.
The price, right? And what's going to happen is a small business then goes out and says, well, let me see if I can talk to another IT guy who can get me a lower price. And then what happens is they're likely, probably with a very high percentage rate, going to get the solution that is not right for them. They're not going to be protected because they're getting the cheapest, lowest price solution they can get. And that makes them very, very vulnerable. Now, when they understand it, they may not pay. They still may not pay more. It doesn't mean they're automatically going to pay more. But when they understand what every component is there for and why it's there, without somebody having to educate them and give them a degree in engineering, they're going to spend the money that they should spend to get the protection level they should get.
You're right. And then in addition to that, as they're shopping around, they're going to know what questions to ask so that they know that the solutions that are being presented to them are pragmatic and they're going to pay for the solution that does the job it's supposed to do instead of being misinformed. You know, now they're going to be aware and they can make good choices, that they can move forward in a positive direction so that their data is secure, their personal information is secure, their company employees are all secure because no one wants to have their name associated with any type of data breach. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's something like that, you know, even the smallest little thing that happens can take somebody down for hours, days, weeks, and what that incrementally costs businesses. And I know you probably talk to your audience about this, but the stories you hear every day of businesses being hacked, the costs, it's put businesses out of business. So it's really, really important to make sure you're protected.
Mike, do you have any juicy stories? Because you travel way more than me, and you travel all throughout North America educating companies like mine, CDN Technologies. So I'm sure you got a juicy one that's funny. Is it something you're allowed?
Yeah, you know,
I can rate this episode E.
I'll tell you the funniest thing I hear.
Okay.
Is it's not from the technology company. It's not from the IT providers. It's from small businesses. Because when I travel, I obviously talk to an IT providers, and I hear a lot of the same things, a lot of the same questions. And with our tool, we're somewhat of a new tool in this industry. So they're not there. I think a lot of IT providers have to change their paradigm to use us because they are programmed to want to go plug something into a network, run a report, and hand the results off to their clients, which is super technical stuff, and they want to be able to kind of put all that stuff back into our report. And our presentation is a 28-page, very simple to understand presentation, and I would say the bulk of those 28 pages are infographics that explain things at a very elementary, in a very elementary way. So
your pictures tell a story.
Yeah, but here's the story. So I hear the same things from IT providers, from small businesses. What I hear is incredible. And I was just talking to a small business here. She's a bookkeeper. She runs a business that is about 12 employees, and she has an IT provider here, and she's had this provider for a long time, many years. And I asked her what she thinks of the provider, and she says, "I can't stand him. I hate working with him." And I asked her why she still works with him, and she said, "Because he's the devil I know." And I started digging in, and what I found is that she gets these reports from him. She doesn't understand them. She doesn't understand what the provider says when he speaks to her, and she ends up thinking every time she gets an invoice from him, she thinks, "What am I being paid for?" So once a month, she thinks, "What am I paying for?" And she thinks about firing this IT provider because, very simply, she just doesn't understand what he does. He may be doing an amazing job for her. He may be doing a terrible job for her, but she doesn't know. So it's maybe not a funny story, more of a kind of sad story. But that was something that just stood out to me. It was just floored me when I heard her say, "Here I am staying with my IT provider because it's the devil I know." And also, I'm thinking back in my head, all somebody needs to do is come in and explain her IT to her in a way that she can understand, and she's gone.
You know what? I hate passive-aggressive IT people. Like, they're brutal. They're so hard to interact with.
Folks who have books of definitions that obviously aren't common or normal for customers to understand, right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
They're a strange breed of people.
It's like, your RAM isn't DDR3. It's like, what does that mean?
Exactly.
Well, the other side of it is that she knows every time he comes in, he's a mix of managed service and break fix. Which means he charges her a monthly fee, but he also charges her a certain amount of money every time he visits her to do something.
That would drive me nuts.
Yeah, it's nutty.
Because you can't budget for that.
She can't. And here's what she does. She will hold back for months and months and months. She doesn't let him come in with monthly reports or quarterly reports because she's afraid. Not only she knows she doesn't understand what he says, but she knows it's going to be cost her X, and she holds back on having him come in and do things that she should be doing to protect her. So she's vulnerable during that time.
Ugh. So, as you have traveled and you've heard all these crazy stories that are out there, and you've dealt with some of these really cool IT people and some passive-aggressive IT people, what is the most important thing, Mike, you have ever learned?
Most important thing that I've ever learned?
Yes.
So for me personally, because I'm a salesperson, I'm a sales and marketing person, so really just trying to ask great questions for me, and I teach that to them as well, because I'm not a technical person. I'm a lot like you are. I come from a sales and marketing background into being a technology provider, so I just practice what I preach with them. That's one of the most important things I've learned being in this industry now is I have to really uncover what they're asking. Because a lot of times, they'll ask me, the first question we get is, "Are you like this tool?" And I'm not going to mention the tool name, but it's another tool that can be used. It's a very technical-oriented tool, and we're not like that tool, but I don't answer that question until I understand what they're asking me, because sometimes they're asking me if our system works with that tool. Sometimes they're asking me for permission to not use that tool. So the most important thing I've learned in being in this field is just to listen.
Yeah, I would have to agree. So thank you, Mike. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me today on how audit solves the problem of figuring out what exactly is going on in a business network and how people in the executive seats can quickly cut the crap to make excellent IT decisions. I'm proud to say that CDN Technologies is a managed service provider, and we take pride in educating our listeners by asking them great questions and by listening to their answers so that they can make pragmatic IT decisions.
And thank you so much, Mike, for making that easier for clients to understand.
Yes. Your tool is awesome. So if any of our listeners have questions about their IT and vulnerabilities or how their geeked out Frankenstein of a computer network works, they can contact me at 905-542-9759 or visit cdntechnologies.com, and you can always get me direct at barbrap.tv.